Hello, everybody. This is Justin Case of American Newscape, joining our friend and media personality, Jerry Maldonado, back for another installment of Meatball Therapy. Hello, Jerry. Welcome back. And it looks like your internet connection is aces.
Yeah, but this camera sucks. We're trying. We're getting there. We're getting there. I'm trying to. I don't like technology, Meatball. I'm looking down, but the camera's up here. So I'm trying to get used to this. So forgive me, guys. You can see my house, man. What do you think? It's pretty cool. This little loft I got going on here.
It is pretty cool.
It's a direct reflection of what I think about, and actually brought it to me. But yeah, absolutely. Let's try to make this work, man.
We are going to make it work because we have much better bandwidth, and it's not going to be choppy, and we're happy.
Better voice too, man. Yeah.
Wow. How could our voices be any better than they are?
I'm talking to you.
There you go. Talk into the camera, Jerry.
Look at the red dot. Look at the red dot.
Okay, that's that old TV background paying off. Hey.
Oh yeah.
Welcome back. Hey, Pursuit of Happiness, Jerry. What's happening with Pursuit of Happiness, and why do we care?
Oh my goodness! I just did the show on this on Facebook Live on the synopsis of a movie. See, today it was really hot up here in the Northeast. You know, 95. That's like morning breakfast for you in the desert, Meatball.
That is.
But I actually wore yellow in honor of Mr. Sun, who was coming down. And it's National Splurge Yourself Day. So I splurge myself by putting my AC on really hot. So I feel so much better. But in the realm of doing that splurging of the nice AC, I was vacuuming. Yeah, and this movie came on called The Pursuit of Happiness. Will Smith, Chris Gardner classic to me was me growing up back in the early 2000s. I was going through the situation, the separation, the transition to what was going on in my life. And that movie really hit me because that's who I was. I was the guy who was fighting every day. I was trying to get somewhere. It just wasn't working. Like myself trying to figure out this camera. It just wasn't working. But I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. But the great synopsis of that movie was, it wasn't until he heard his own words, if you want something, go and get it, period, that he realized he was the source. And when Chris Gardner portrayed that in his book about that, along with the movie itself, it really made sense because you have to be that person before you can attain that person. It's only when Will Smith started working at Dean Witter and hanging around success people and the environment that he was in that he actually realized who he was. And he stopped pursuing, he just kept being. And all these circumstances and these synchronicities started happening in his life. And it's so important to realize for people, for themselves, it's really important. We were taught backwards on how to approach life. And people can argue with this in many ways, but to me, it's only when I change my thoughts about life and how I perceive life that life started turning around for me.
Well, it makes sense, Jerry. We find ourselves where we are, and we are primarily responsible for where we find ourselves.
Again, Meatball Therapy 101. We are responsible. I mean, how much are we inundated now with, oh, it's the economy's fault. It's your mother's fault. It's your family's fault. You got to look in the mirror, guys. You got to realize that you're the source to whatever's coming into your life. There isn't Santa Claus. There isn't this and that are going to give you anything you want. You have to be that to attract that. And that was the hardest thing for me to realize because growing up, I mean, you can definitely concur with me on this. We were taught work hard, work hard, work hard. It's going to come naturally. No, you work hard, you get tired, you get frustrated, you get angry, you feel lack. Listen about those states that I just mentioned. Those are imperative to failure. When you keep focusing on how hard life is and how much of a struggle life is and how far you have to go, it makes life more daunting. And this is what Will Smith was going through. he kept running into problem after problem after problem because he thought so low of himself. Guess what? He'd go home and his wife or ex-wife, soon to be ex-wife, would reiterate that with sarcastic remarks and not lifting him up. And this is just a simple psychological lesson that if you want to make it on the outside, you got to make it on the inside first.
Well, you're exactly right, Jerry. And I'm reminded of that old Bobby McFerrin song that drove me crazy when it was incepted, but it was if you're happy, if you're happy, if you're happy, and
It,
it's
it was
not
ingrained in you, Meatball. It was ingrained when you're at your lowest point.
right.
It's a great story, a great metaphor to live by. Those simple words, don't worry, be happy. I mean, if people would grasp that psychology is so important to whatever you're trying to have, be, or do in life, it's so important that you grasp that inner sight or inner being of yourself. You can't have what you want. You can only have what you are. And that's because you're acting that way. You're acting in accordance to attracting who you are. And when you change who you are, you change what you bring.
Well, and redundantly, I say that be aware of where you find yourself because that's the first step. And you and
Oh
I
God, yeah.
have a more positive outlook on life, so we celebrate that. We celebrate whatever step we're at
Oh
moving forward.
yes.
And
It, these little, great point, Meatball. These little things are our own cheerleading squad per se, if you want to use that kind of metaphor. Well, you got to be your own cheerleader, whatever you're trying to have, be, or do. It's what you say to yourself, how you think of yourself. What you're acting is what you bring. We're repetitive here on America's Newscape. I'm repetitive on when I do my Facebook Live with America's Mentor. That's because the same way that Don't Worry, Be Happy helped you by listening to it over and over, these segments and these metaphors and these situations are the same thing that you have to do to yourself. You got to keep reiterating what you want to bring. You got to act how you want to attract. You have to be that to bring that. And if you keep ingraining those scenarios and those words on a massive scale, on an emotional massive scale, with persistence and perseverance, you cannot help but not bring it to you.
well, I had an interaction with a dear friend, and she was begrudging her parents not taking their health issues seriously enough to suit her. They're both in their 70s. They both had multiple medical issues, but they've lived full lives. They still travel internationally. They still get on petri dish cruise ships. They still fly places they don't really need to go. And my suggestion was, it's a blessing we still have them. Let them be.
Yes.
Because they've done exactly what you suggested. They've found their happiness and they're living it.
Now leave them alone. Leave them alone. You know, you bring up retirement again. Um, I'm sorry, you brought up retirement for that. And we were ingrained growing up. You had to save, 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 save for retirement. You get touch money, do nothing till you're 65. You're sucking wind for 40 years. Basically, I hate to put it so bluntly, but at the same time, you're not living.
Yeah.
You wonder why people aren't happy. They're not living their life. I'm not saying go out and spend yourself into bankruptcy, but Jesus, reward yourself. Use the National Day of Splurging yourself as an excuse to do the little things. Even with me, it's this is how simple I am. I turn the AC up because it
Yeah.
makes me feel good. It's things like that that affect what? Your mood and how you feel all the time. It's those little happy points, if you want to give them that kind of name or call them something, that will bring more happy points. You keep giving yourself the happiness by surrounding yourself with it, being it, bringing what you want to it in life. You're not denied. You're not denied. You're denying yourself by listening to the outside world telling you, you got to put all your money away. You got to do this. You got to. It's just a bunch of people, how should we say, sheeple in life. And it's terrible. Well, when you find your purpose, you find your happiness, and there's nothing denying you from there. A lot like those people who are traveling the world or doing their thing. Um, The daughter issues, I have no idea. Maybe I missed the first part of that conversation. But to me, if you're doing what you want, you're in your 70s, you're lucky, you're blessed. Keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. I remember if I go back to some Bible study many, many years ago,
You did
very,
that?
I did that, and it was a very,
My,
very spiritual leader of that group. Yes, the seas parted,
good for you.
but he was explaining about how we were supposed to be meek sheep, and don't find yourself a goat up on the hill, frolicking on the hill. And I stopped him. I said, Tony, are you telling me I'm supposed to be a step and fetch it meek sheep? And I can't be a goat frolicking up on the hill. And he said, well, literally, yes. I said, well, okay, I'm a little weak on this.
Typical Catholicism. My dad was a deacon. I don't know if you knew that. My dad was a deacon. And, if I had the Bible on here, I'd be like, if you throw it in your face, you have to act a certain way or else you're not getting to heaven. But my first question is, what about now? Well, what am I supposed to be now, Meatball? Am I supposed to sit here and tell people what not to do, to not have a life, to not be themselves? It doesn't state that in the Bible. The words are all jumbled around for people, and they're spoken so esoterically and preached to us in a different way. You wonder why people are knucking butts. All I'm telling you is, you find your happiness in life, whatever it might be, you're gonna be happy. You're gonna attract more of that. That's all Will Smith did. A quick synopsis of The Pursuit of Happiness. He found what made him happy. The people, the situations, the circumstances. You wonder why he became so successful. Because he was in a place to manifest that exact person he've always wanted to be. It's our job to find that sweet spot in our life. It's our job as humans. The will to do stems from the knowledge that we can do. When you start realizing that kind of information and that kind of fortitude that you have, I mean, it's inevitable that you're going to find your sweet spot, your happy point to get what you want.
So to clarify, I'm knucking futs because
Nothing fun. Nothing
because
fun. It's
because
going to be a new promo here on America's Newscape. Get rid of Meatball Therapy. That sounds that's redundant.
but
Now
I'm
it's Nuckin Therapy.
so I'm there because organized spirituality is confusing.
Very. And it's opinionated. It's by their own perception. The Bible and Scripture and Proverbs. It's all the person who's teaching it or reading it. It's their perception of it. If you define the words, which few people do, and I believe me, I was a believer the wrong way until I started defining the words. I'm like, wait, it doesn't say that. It's not supposed to be that way. It's in accordance to scientific quantum physics and metaphysical laws that we are all endowed with our Creator. They even said in the Constitution, for crying out loud, we are endowed with the same power to create anything we want. But you got to believe in it, and you've got to act accordingly to create it and manifest it.
Well, I think you and I want to believe that the Constitution is a magical document, but
It's still an experiment.
too many people hold it up when convenient, and they disregard it when they don't like what it might infer.
I got a simple, if you don't like it, leave. Sorry. I'm
There's the door.
sorry. I'm not trying to be mean to any of our naysayers, but there's plenty of other places in the world that follow what you believe in. I mean, you have the option. Here it's a certain way. It's created a sense of amazing opportunity for billions of people throughout many hundreds of years. Well, what do you want to change it for? Leave it alone, man. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you don't like it, get elected. I hate to say that, but yeah, that's the downfall of it. But at the same time, you don't like it, leave. I mean, find a place that makes you happy. There you go. We use it as a metaphor. Don't worry, just leave.
Yeah,
just,
make
we'll
us
just
happy.
use that. Yeah, there you go. Don't worry, just go. Have a nice day. The point is everybody just got to find their own happiness and stop trying to tell everybody else how to be happy. And when they start doing that, the world's going to be a much better place.
Well, and don't we find the vast majority of society is doing that these days?
Oh, with the internet? Oh, that must get a lot of, naysayers angry. There's so many of us out there now. I mean, it's great. I mean, it's changing the consciousness of the planet as we speak, and I say it respectfully because the internet can't keep up with it. We're being inundated with happiness. If people really look for it, expunge all the accidents and the affairs and all that kind of garbage that'll make you nuck and futz. I said it again.
Oh my
But if
God.
you start only searching out the happiness and what you want to learn about yourself. I mean, there's millions of us. You and I, there's millions of us out there, and saying the same kind of, how should we say, meaning to it, just in our own creative way. It's a great time to be alive.
It is a good time to be a meatball.
Absolutely. And meatball therapy it is,
Yeah.
101.
Hey, Jerry, I think that's a good place for us to wrap up this episode. And I want to thank you. I want to thank you for improving your internet connection because I think it's going to pay off.
Camera still sucks, but thank you anyway, though. I have to get used to it. I got to follow the light. I got to follow the light. I'm trying, but thank you very much, man.
Don't come to the light, Carol Ann. It's bad.
I'm,
It's bad.
I'm gonna go watch ET now. I'll be back. I'll see you later.
Okay. All right, everybody. This has been Just in Case, Jerry Maldonado, and ET bringing you Meatball Therapy. Thanks for joining us. Remember, additional information and links provided in this video is read more. Today's the day to subscribe to this channel. Please learn more about Jerry Maldonado when time permits.